Hi, so this video is going to be about how to create an SAE where you are the business owner. We call that entrepreneurship. So, ideally your name should be up in this corner. If it's not, you logged into the wrong account and should probably talk to your AET teacher about fixing that. But if that is your name, then we are ready to go. So, right now I'm on the profile tab of AET, and you're going to go to your activities and hit the Experience Manager button, SAE. Alright, so if we're trying to make an entrepreneurship SAE, we're going to start by hitting this Add New button. And up here, we're going to put your business name. So if you are managing your own farm, so I might say Callista's Acres, or maybe I'm doing a dog walking business, so I could say dog walking. Any of those work. For the sake of this example, I'm going to use Callista's Acres. Okay, so I'm doing this on my own. I'm not volunteering and I'm not doing it through the school. My next thing to do is look at how I'm going to track my experience. Okay, so I am owning the business. Okay, so I am not looking at jobs. I am not doing any research. Placement means I am working for someone else. That is not the case. I am the owner. Okay, so I'm going to go to business and hit entrepreneurship ownership. Now, with these acres, I could be doing a lot of different things. And so what I'm going to first do is figure out what type of experience area that is. So let's say I have a few acres that I plan to rotate different crops on. This is going to be a plant systems SAE. Okay. So my subcategory might be grain crops. Okay. Maybe I'm doing wheat and corn. How am I measuring this? Am I measuring this by how many acres, by how many bushels, hundredweight, or other? Okay, so if I was doing, let's say if I was doing any type of oil seeds, maybe I'm looking at doing hundredweight over bushels. But if I'm doing corn, which is a pretty common one, it is also very common to keep track of my success in acres. So I can choose to do acres, I can choose to do bushels when it comes to corn. Maybe I want to do bushels because I know I'm not going to be able to really grow in acres, but maybe my bushel production is what I do plan to grow in. Okay, the important part with picking this is for future award areas. So if you're a kid that's looking at that star farmer, looking at a proficiency in grain crops, you want to pick a category that's going to showcase your success the most. Okay, so if you're in an area where you can get your hand on more acres, like dad's slowly letting you take over the farm, acres of production is a fantastic way to measure success. Otherwise, look at bushels of sales. So you're looking at how are the decisions that I'm making helping me produce more bushels on that acre that I have. Okay. And then management module, there's no option here. Okay, it stays the same. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And you're going to notice that says EN. Okay. So all my other ones say PL. They were placement ones, meaning I was working for someone else. This one says EN, entrepreneurship. Okay, I am working for myself in this aspect, and I also get a couple different new tools that pop up here as well. Let's start with just getting this planned out. Okay, so let's get this guy figured out. We're going to go under planning, and we're going to hit this pencil. All right, so I'm just starting off by saying, what is this project? What am I responsible for? All of those types of things. And easy to do this is to look at the box that they give you recommendations in. This is what you're going to put in down here. You can choose to just copy and paste this and start filling in the blanks, or you could choose to just answer the types of questions that it has. So you're going to say, I'm interested in running this project because my intent is to take over the farm, or maybe my intent is to start producing income to fund my future college plans, anything like that. When are you starting? When are you planning to end this operation? Or are you just going to keep going with this? What are your goals with the project? Is it skills? Is it monetary? What's the point of you doing this? Okay. And then how are you being evaluated? And what are you thinking about when it comes to safety? Okay. So that's the type of things you need to be editing down here. Time investment, we're looking at what are you contributing time-wise to this SAE? So how often are you going to be working on it? What kind of activities are you going to be doing during that time? What are some key events or dates that'll happen? And how does that relate to your career plan? This one is called fiscal investment. This is different than in the placement, okay? In placement, you don't have to worry about income and expenses. For running an operation, you do. So what I'm going to do is I could just copy and paste this down here. And all I need to do is just hit these 3 big bullet points, okay? What are my major expenses? What's that going to cost me? What are those expenses going to be? How is my income being measured? What is my timeline for getting that income? And then assets, okay? So non-current items. These are things that either I own already or that I use that someone else owns, okay? So it says right here, it's all in red, and it says edit this section, okay? You are going to keep one of these, not both, okay? So either I plan to use assets I own or I plan to use assets that someone else owns, okay? What are those assets, and then how are you having access to them? So, for example, if my parents are letting me use some of their land and their equipment and their grain bins, then I am using someone else's assets, such as how many acres, what equipment, what grain bins. And I'm going to explain then how I am getting that. Am I paying them for that at the end? Am I also working hours on their farm to cover the cost? Something like that. Okay. This part, again, we are looking at different skills that we're going to do in this category. So, again, because my SAE was planned to be in plant systems, it auto-populates with that guy. I get to pick any of these, but we want to start with the minimum is 3. However, you can pick as many as you feel you're going to achieve. Okay, so if I am owning my own crop farm, I should probably care about how the environment influences plant growth, how to take care of growing media, a fertilization plan, how to deal with pests. Maybe I want to look at, I'm the one managing it, so I need to make the plan and make it happen. I need to harvest, handle, and store crops correctly, all of those factors, okay? However, I am also doing the business side of this. So what I highly recommend you do is go to the Agribusiness Systems tab and select some items from here as well. Okay, so I'm going to apply management skills to organize and run a business effectively, legally, and ethically. Very important for you to have that. Okay, I need to know how to interpret and analyze financial information. Okay, I need to understand how to keep my accounts and how to keep track of all those things. So I'm going to keep that one as well. I need to manage a budget, all of those different factors. Okay, so I can save and go back. And then I'm going to say in this box, how do I plan to do that thing? So how do I plan to achieve this skill? Okay, that's what I'm answering for each one of these boxes. Okay, lastly, again, we're looking at signatures. So the student would be able to type your name in here and hit submit. And that means that this is all true and you do plan to continue with this plan. Your teacher will then sign here through AET to say that yes, you did plan this very well. There's a lot of information. You are set up for success. And then lastly, requesting parent contact. For a parent to say, yes, so I'm aware that my student has agreed to do this, and I will help support them however I can in keeping track of this. Once you're all done with that, you would hit save all and return. Once you have all those signatures back, then this becomes a green check mark, and that means that you are officially done with all the planning regarding your SAE. Okay? However, we also have this guy under planning, so we're going to click on him. And this is all of our starting information, okay? So these are all the different types of income and expenses that you can have with your SAE, okay? Again, not all of these are going to be specific to you. They are just specific to entrepreneurship, okay? Again, I chose grain crops, but livestock sales popped up, okay? I'm not working with livestock in this SAE, so I'm not estimating to have any. Okay, so I'm just going to say not applicable, okay? And that's the easiest way to start off with, right? Is I'm just going to go through and say what is not about me. I'm not doing any research. Okay, I will have crop sales. I don't plan to sell products or services. Am I planning to be a part of a cooperative? Am I planning to be a part of any government programs like CRP? What about crop insurance? Am I hiring someone to help me? Absolutely not. I'm just getting started here. I got to pay for myself first. Other income or premiums, we are always going to leave that one open just because we're never quite sure what opportunities might come up. Non-cash income, so this is like the right to use the land or right to use the equipment because you worked for someone, okay? So non-cash income done by labor exchange. So I plan, like if that land is valued at so much an acre, then I need to make sure that I'm working that many hours to cover that land rent, right? Because I'm not trying to cheat my parents out of anything here either. We're both running businesses. I'm learning how to manage money. That's part of the agreement that we're making. And so for this one, I just say working for parents in their operation for rights to use blank acres. Okay. Non-cash income used at home. So that's if you, let's say for example, you had the right to use the tractors, but you chose to use that to go, take down some trees for a bonfire pit you plan to have. This is where you could be tracking that information. Non-cash income bartered or transferred. So maybe I bought too much seed. I'm going to sell that to my dad so he can use it. Okay. So that's where this could be. So any non-SAE related earnings, that's anything related to like, I also have like an off-farm job, or I have, any birthday money. If you want to keep track of that, that would be here. And then unearned income. Okay. So value you've added that you weren't paid for. Okay. So this could be how you are making amendments to your soil. This could be anything like that. So expense-wise, we're looking at where are you losing money? Are you planning to do any advertising? I don't. Any bank charges? So if your bank, if you're a minor, your bank should ideally not have any like monthly charges for maintaining your account. However, you will be charged if you overdraft or use too much money than you have in your account. So if you want to plan for overdrafts, that's what it would be here. Otherwise, as a minor, you shouldn't be getting charged management fees on maintaining a checkings or savings account. Conservation expenses. So how much are you planning to spend to work on conservation? I currently don't. How much do I plan to spend on chemicals for my field? Are there any dues? Like, I'm planning to be a member of anything would be a due. So if I'm going to be a part of the corn council for my state, or if I'm going to join the wheat commission, that would be a due. And then any subscriptions, like for any of the management softwares that you might have. That's what would be here. Employee benefits. If you don't have employees, then there are no benefits to pay for. Freight and trucking. If this is having to do with the shipping and selling of your products. So if you are doing the trucking, there's still an expense to your insurance, your gas, etc. However, if someone else is doing it, you also have their bill on top of it as well. So that's what this guy is for. Expenses for any insurance. So for example, up here in income, we had crop insurance. Okay, so if you plan to get paid by your insurance, you'd put that here. So maybe it's like already going to be a really drought year. That you're going to have really big problems with hail, any specific pest issues. If you're expecting some sort of payout through your insurance, that goes under income. You paying for your insurance goes under expense. Okay. So if I'm like, yep, I know I'm going to be having expenses for insurance, and I'm saying, hey, what company am I getting my insurance through, and their plan. Okay, pension and profit sharing. If you are just running a few acres yourself, you are not a part of any sort of corporation or anything like that, you're not going to have anything here. Storage and warehousing. So if your parents are charging you to use the grain bins, the storage shed, any of that, those expenses go here. If you are having a business account for your internet and telephone, you could charge that here. Any expenses for traveling, utilities like electricity, any taxes you're going to have to pay, your vehicle expense, the expense for any labor you're hired. Like, you're not hiring a full-time employee, but maybe you just need an extra hand for harvesting. Any feed, hay, and forage. Well, I'm doing crops, so green crops specifically, so that's not a concern of mine. I won't have any vet fees medicine or breeding for my crops, any supplies needed for your crops. So maybe like you need new chem gloves, you need new boots, you need to get some more parts to fix your equipment, anything like that. Repairs and maintenance, seeds and plants, fertilizer and lime, other expenses. Again, I'm not doing livestock. Renting or leasing the land, how much is that going to be? And I could say over here, using labor exchange, commission and entry fees. So looking at more like livestock on your state fair side, gas, fuel, and oil, custom hire. So if I'm going to do, hey, I'll plant it, but someone else is going to harvest it. Non-cash entries. So these are for your labor exchange ones. Just going to keep going through and putting zeros in what's not important here for the type of event for SAE I'm running over here. Maybe Dad's going to do some hauling for you, so that'd be a non-cash expense. And then all these other informations. So once I know what I'm not doing, I'm going to go through and say what I do have. So maybe, you know what, my goal is to hit, I'm hoping to hit $10,000 in gross profit on my sale. Estimated income per unit. Okay, so if my unit is bushels, I can't exactly say 10,000. So let's say I'm looking at getting, I'm trying to get something ridiculous. Let's say $12. Okay. And then I'm going to say whatever my co-op like distribution is, what my dad got, maybe that's my expectation. So if Dad got 500, I hope to get 500. And then all my planning would be done, right? I just hit, you would just hit save, or in my case, enter, and it would all keep track of it. But if you plan to use this for anything Star Farmer proficiency related, this is a lot to go through, but it's important, okay? Sit down with whoever your mentor is, whether it's a parent, a family friend, whoever they are, and make sure that you're setting reasonable goals for yourself on your income and expenses, okay? But for now, we'll leave it as is, okay? Because I have something in there, it all of a sudden gets this green check mark, okay? However, my box is still red because I haven't recorded any information. So once I'm done with my planning piece, I would finally be able to start recording my information, and that's something we'll show you in a different video. So starting an Entrepreneurship SAE on here takes a little bit of work, especially if you're doing the grain sides or livestock side of things, but it will be worth it in the end. So if you're running into any questions, ask your AET teacher, but otherwise, good luck.